Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hunger Games. Today we got a great lineup when it comes to our districts. District 1 over here. Of course, we got Caramel Arrow Cookie and Affogato. District 2, we have Milky Way and Strawberry Crepe. District 3, we got Red Velvet and his gorgeous dog Chiffon, gorgeous cake hound Chiffon. Rye Cookie and Chili Pepper for District 4. District 5, we got Licorice and Espresso Cookie. District 6, a very interesting lineup here. It's Madeline Cookie and Cream Unicorn. I can't wait to see how that goes out. District 7, got the Tea Night Cookie and the Robust Axe. District 8, we got the legendary cookie, Seafair and Frost Queen. We even got Ancients here with Dark Cacao and Hollyberry for District 9. And in District 10, we got Pure Vanilla Cookie and White Lily, a very iconic matchup when it comes to the franchise. Golden Cheese Cookie and Capsaicin are in District 11. I can't wait to see how that works out, especially considering the fandom has dubbed Burning Spice, her other Golden Cheese's other half, to be, of course, the other half. They share a soul gem. So Capri Sun, of course, is going to have to be a very interesting and even interesting lineup is Shadow Milk Cookie and Eclair. Someone who has knowledge and also someone who has knowledge. It's a very interesting lineup here. We got District 5 is probably going to have the most hard time, especially considering their canon interactions in Last Cookie Standing. Nobody really liked Licorice Cookie, especially when Rocky was brought on board, and Espresso just hates everybody. So, interesting. I think actually District 6 is probably going to be the very good contender. Madeline and Cream Unicorn, they're very positive, very upbeat people. They can definitely keep their spirits up as they're going about. Although I do question the morality of Cream Unicorn Cookie. I wonder what they're going to be like when it comes to killing. Red Velvet and Chiffon, an easily iconic duo. We got the child workers. Milky Way and Strawberry Crepe, very interesting. They've also interacted in Last Cookie Standing. Caramel Arrow and Affogato have some beef. I think they're probably going to be even worse than Espresso Cookie. At least Espresso Cookie didn't try to exile Caramel Arrow. Rye and Chili Pepper, of course, known rivals. We're just going to have to see. So, place your bets in right now. Let's do this. We shall begin the simulation. The bloodbath begins. Affogato is going to run away from the cornucopia. Very on brand for him. Milky Way is going to run away, of course. Very, very bold strategy. Cowering away. You don't get resources there, but, it's a lot of the psychology between it. Oh, do you want to go for the food? Oh, well, other people are going to also go for it, so you never know what's going to happen. Strawberry Crepe is going to run away as well. Very interesting. You would think that they would want to go to the cornucopia, but maybe they're going to try to use their technology to sort of figure something out. So let me actually push this a little further back so you guys can see that better. I'm so sorry that it was so bad up until now. Rye Cookie is going to run away from the cornucopia. Very interesting. You would think she would instantly go for Chili Pepper, but I've been proven wrong. Then again, she strived for money, and there's probably not money there. But food is a very valuable resource that she could probably barter, sell to others in this very high intensity game. Chili Pepper is going to run away and leave the cornucopia. Licorice Cookie's going to run away. A lot of cowards here. Espresso Cookie on brand to leave the cornucopia. Madeline's going to run away from the cornucopia. Cream Unicorn's going to run away from the cornucopia. The Robust Axe is going to leave the cornucopia. Seafair is going to run away and leave the cornucopia. Dark Cacao Cookie is going to run away and leave the cornucopia. Will anybody go for the cornucopia? Pure Vanilla runs away. White Lily runs away. Shadow Milk runs away. Eclair runs away. It's very interesting. So everybody seems to have run away from the cornucopia. I do wonder what's going to happen in regards to an event at the cornucopia. If two people are going to go there, somebody's going to die maybe. Who knows? We see Caramel Arrow twist Golden Cheese neck. Golden Cheese survives. Oh, Caramel Arrow right out the gate. Thirsting for blood. Thirsting for action. It's almost like Golden Cheese Cookie just disrespected the great deeds of her ancestors. Jeez. But Golden Cheese, the near immortal she is, if it was her wings, it would have come clean off from past experience. We've already known that. We're going to go down. Ooh, Red Velvet Cookie finding some bombs. Maybe Chiffon, he could zip it in Chiffon, or maybe he has some sort of satchel he can probably find later. Maybe there's some pockets in that jacket right there. We got Chiffon grabbing some supplies. Red Velvet's got the bombs. Chiffon probably is grabbing the big axes. Maybe there's another robust axe that's there. We go on down. Tea Night Cookie bashes Frost Queen's head several times, but Frost Queen survives, which is very interesting. These high rarity cookies are definitely surviving these attacks on these lower levels, so it's certainly interesting to see if Frost Queen will have to get revenge later. I'm so sorry that it is not far back enough. Let me just push that back even further. There we go. We apologize for the delay, for the little inaccuracy. Oh shoot. Sorry. Tea Night Cookie, of course. Everybody knows Tea Night Cookie. He's pretty cool. Frost Queen, after the brutal attack, finds a stick on the ground, so now she has to kind of defend herself. Maybe she'll get revenge on Tea Night Cookie later. We'll have to see. Keep watching. Hollyberry finds some unused landmines. Back here we found out that he found some bombs. I guess some landmines that went off, because, if you go off a little bit early, you're going to die. So Hollyberry finding some landmines, that's pretty big. It's pretty big. He may have been searching on, the podium and such. Coming down, Golden Cheese sneaks up on Capri Sun and beats them up. Very interesting. Burning Spice's Fanonical Son has survived the attack from Golden Cheese Cookie, which is very interesting. All these people are surviving. Now it's the other way around. Now it's the Ancients trying to beat down, but the Burning Spice Cookie Son in the Fanon has survived, which is very interesting. And in the meantime, he's going to find some unused landmines as well. Very interesting. Nobody has died yet. So now, day one is beginning. Caramel Arrow's going to climb a tree, but fall. However, she does survive. She was a soldier for the Dark Cacao Kingdom, of course, so she's gonna have to land on her feet a lot. That wall that it keeps building is gonna be very big. Milky Way's gonna climb a tree and also fall, but, Milky Way, they're a train conductor, they've been in space multiple times, it's sort of their job. So, this sort of thing comes natural for Milky Way. For Seafair Cookie, she's gonna create a robust axe, and would you look at that, the robust axe finds a sword. Strawberry Crepe Cookie is going to destroy Sea Fairy supplies. Very interesting. We come back up here. We know that she found, she ran away from the cornucopia, so she already didn't have a lot of resources to begin with. However, now, she finally makes a robust axe, and Strawberry Crepe comes from nowhere and destroys it, and anything else that Sea Fairy could have found. It's very interesting how the epics are stacking up to these legendary cookies. First it was with Capri Sun, now it's with Strawberry Crepe Cookie. We'll have to see how that escalates later on. We're going to see Red Velvet escape the arena, but only met with an electric fence. However, Red Velvet survives. Dang. Being a Cookie of Darkness must give you superpowers or something. Either that or he probably had Chiffon go for it. Who knows? But he'll, maybe he'll have to keep that in mind. Maybe he'll try to escape later. Maybe he'll use it to bash somebody's head in against the electric fence. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Milky Way will grabs Madeline's head and yanks on it. However, Madeline survives. Milky Way is a child, despite being a conductor on the Dream Express. They are still a child. Madeline is a member of the Republic. He's a paladin, from what I've heard. And, his head has been yanked on multiple times, probably by Espresso when he's not had his coffee for a while now. Speaking of which, he found some spoiled food and ate it, but he survived. Madeline's having a lot of close calls here. I sort of have my money on District 6, somebody in District 6 surviving, whether it be Madeline or Cream Unicorn Cookie. I think they're probably the best outfit for this sort of thing right here. Maybe Milky Way and Strawberry Crepe with their differing knowledge could also work out. We make Capri Sun makes a hut out of grass. It's pretty good. Ooh, Cookie of Darkness with a cookie that is guided by the divine light. This should be a very interesting go. Red Velvet hides some bombs in his pants and it explodes. Madeline dies! Oh my gosh! Finally, we have our first death. That's very interesting. Velvet had, if we can come back here real quick, if we can go back up here, I believe he was one of the people who found some bombs, if I'm not mistaken. Red Velvet found some bombs. He did get some use out of it. That use being to hide the bomb in Madeline's pants. I'm very surprised that he even has pants. Maybe he wore his maybe he wore some Gucci pants today to show off to everybody else regarding District 6. However, it seems to have backfired because now something blew up, or is that just his pants, or is he just happy to see him? Who knows? Madeline dies. That is one of the District 6 members. I have my money on him. I'm gonna have to get a loan after this. Speaking of which, Strawberry Creep's gonna strangle Cream Unicorn! No! But Cream Unicorn survives. No, please. I did not want District 6, any of District 6 to die yet. Although I did say that, like, you know, Red Velvet, he's a cookie of darkness, you know, but he's still got a heart, but he's still very crafty, especially with Chiffon. And I believe it's District 3, I do not remember already, but Strawberry Crepe and Milky Way are definitely they're very capable individuals despite being literal children, right? They're, you know, Strawberry Crepe's got the technology, the technological, like they're able to think very technologically, and that can mean a lot of things. And Milky Way Cookie has experience in space. So, and like, you know, we come back here, Milky Way tries to yank on Madeline's head. Maybe that was just enough to distract Madeline enough for Red Velvet to hide bombs in his pants and then have it explode. That is going to be crazy. And then they're over here trying to strangle Cream Unicorn Cookie. You know, they thems versus they thems. They're not sticking together. It's a battle of the non-binaries. But we're going to continue. Robust Axe was caught in a bear trap, but they survived. You know, it's very interesting. The Robust Axe has been keeping up until now. I sure do wonder how they feel about being a tea night cookie, someone who uses such, who probably bashes people's heads in with a teacup and such. So we're going to continue. Milky Way bashes Robust Axe several times, and the Robust Axe dies. Oh my gosh! Maybe the bear trap was a vice for Milky Way Cookie to bash the head in of the axe. Oh, that might have been genius. We don't know, but I like to think that that's the case. We're going to see Caramel Arrow flipping off Strawberry Crepe Cookie and running away, you know. I don't know why Caramel Arrow Cookie is very vehemently so against Strawberry Crepe Cookie. It's very interesting. We're going to see how Sea Fairy Cookie here fares. She gets caught in a bear trap, but survives. You know, she is made of water, although... You know, her torso is made of water, so I could see the bear trap kind of snapping and it being right there. It makes me wonder how she's surviving, but, you know, maybe the sword, you know, she's holding on to that sword pretty good still. So it's going to be very interesting to see if somebody yanks that sword off of her, because if you don't know, she loses the sword and she turns back into sea foam. So we're going to continue on. Capri Sun blows up Hollyberries with landmines, and Hollyberry survives. I did not, you know... He got it earlier, I believe, and it's very interesting because Holly, you would think, you know, she's pretty much immortal, and she's got that shield, so I don't know why Capri Sun would even try to go for her, but, you know, maybe it's all part of his master plan. Maybe he's gonna, like, make her think some things and other such. Capri Sun uses pepper spray on Chili Pepper and laughs at him. You know, see, I don't understand this one either because, you know, Chili Pepper, you would think that, you know, Chili Pepper would be immune to pepper spray, and you'd be correct. Pure Vanilla is going to steal from Capri Sun surprise. You know, he just messed with Hollyberry Cookie. You know, that's one of his homies, you know what I mean? You know, that's his therapist. You know, he's got an eating disorder. He still needs the therapy for the eating disorder. So, you know, he had to protect Hollyberry right there. Peanut's gonna grab. Oh, it's gonna grab Frostqueen's head and yank on it. Frostqueen dies. Man, the Tea Leaf Order must have some sort of training when it comes to legendaries. You know, Frostqueen was all about, like, protecting, like, the spirits and the cold and such. But Team Knight, like a feral man, like a cheetah in the deserts, hunting for the gazelle, he yanks on the head and he kills. And it's legendary at that. It's very, very interesting, and it makes me question the vulnerability. You know, we figured out that God can now bleed. Or, well, I guess one of his angels can bleed. Otherwise, yes, Red Velvet's going to receive some supplies from an unknown sponsor. Perhaps Dark Enchantress Cookie is probably watching from afar, deciding to give one of her best soldiers some dog food for Chiffon. Who knows? Avocado Cookie's gonna cry in his sleep, you know. Very, you know, they can't get that dark cacao type of action, so they can't sleep. Dark Cacao is also gonna find some bombs in their sleep, which is very interesting, you know. Wham, wham, wham. I need some bombs, you know, ask and ye shall receive. That's what they say, right? Pure Vanilla is also going to cry in his sleep because he has not had anything to eat, but he knows that it's all his fault. Affogato is going to dream about the most pay-to-win update of them all, Stardust. That's really true. That's really true. Affogato is always scheming, always scheming. How can I get away with this? How can I be able to take advantage of other people or my surroundings so that I may be able to be on top? So this is very in character for Affogato and exactly what I expected when it comes to this stuff. Red Velvet's going to find a bow and some arrows. He's also going to pretend to sleep and illegally starts illegal rainbow sugar cubes. That is very interesting. It's a coping mechanism. Maybe he's away from Chiffon. He doesn't know where Chiffon is. I mean, we haven't seen Chiffon in a while. We don't really know what's going on. Maybe Chiffon's already gone. Who knows? Espresso Cookie is going to receive supplies from an unknown sponsor. Potentially, this could be Clotted Cream Cookie. Working with the Republic. This could be Pure Vanilla also. Who knows? Maybe he's making some sponsorships in the thing, or maybe he's disguising it as a sponsorship. Who knows? Affogato is going to destroy Eclair's supplies. Affogato Cookie is very interesting in this game. The crying themselves to sleep, then gets bombs, then destroys Eclair's supplies. It's very interesting play. They are certainly doing a lot of things, especially in their sleep from when it seems like. Red Cookie's gonna snipe! White Lily with the bow! White Lily dies! Oh my gosh! Whoa! This was a huge twist! This is a huge twist. For those who don't know, White Lily and Dark Enchantress are the same person, but basically not. So it's like you kind of killed your boss's clone. That is very interesting. And Red Velvet with the American Sniper, bro thinks he's Bradley Cooper. Maybe he's John Wick. Maybe he thought White Lily killed Chiffon, so he had to get some revenge. Oh my goodness. This was certainly a development from Red Velvet Cookie, especially in only the first night of the games. Holly Berry is going to disarm an explosive that was hidden in their sleeping bag. Potentially could be from Red Velvet Cookie. It could be from Red Velvet Cookie or anybody else who may have found bombs. Affogato is back at it again, getting a rash due to their sleeping bag. It's very interesting. They're doing all this stuff in their sleep. Maybe they're contracting diseases and getting rashes and all that. Capri Sun is going to steal from Pure Vanilla supplies. Milky Way is going to insult Pure Vanilla. Pure Vanilla is getting the short end of the stick. First of all, he has an eating disorder. Then all of his supplies are gone. And now he's getting insulted by a literal child who's getting underpaid, if not paid at all. Capri Sun is going to get impaled by a tree branch, and he's going to die. Oh my gosh. Oh, clearly natural selection was not on the side of Capsaicin. It is very unfortunate. Maybe he'll go to Valhalla where he can redeem his honor. Or is that purgatory? Perhaps that is something else. Who knows? Chiffon, we finally get some updates with Chiffon. We thought he was dead. However, Chiffon is going to steal or destroy Chili Pepper supplies, surely to get some of that dog food from the sponsor in which Red Velvet got. Espresso Cookie is going to strangle Chiffon! But Chiffon survives. This makes me wonder if Red Velvet's going to get, Red Velvet may have to get revenge, John Wick style. Maybe this is going to be a 4-movie thing. Cream Unicorn's going to flip off Dark Cacao. Very interesting play. Cream Unicorn may have snapped. They may have snapped against this ancient. Maybe the ancient was talking about how he's only a guest facilitator, which, yes, but also do not disrespect them like that. We're going to have Strawberry Crate Cookie using pepper spray on tea nights and laughing at them. Jeez, very childish behavior. Come on, do better, grow up. Milky Way's going to destroy Caramel Arrow supplies. Strawberry Crate is acting more childish than their sleepy teammates. However, their teammate is still doing pretty well with destroying supplies and getting supplies. Caramel Arrow's going to trip and, Espresso laughed at them. This is very typical behavior that I can see from Espresso Cookie. Day 2, we're going to have Holly Berry taking out their illegally smuggled rainbow cubes and snort them. She's trying to get the costume gotcha. She's trying to get the truthless recluse Pure Vanilla because, she's trying to figure out why good girls like bad boys, type of thing. Eclair Cookie's going to receive some supplies from an unknown sponsor. Maybe it's Tea Night Cookie giving him a book. Who knows? Pure Vanilla is going to be caught in a bear trap, but Pure Vanilla is going to live. Maybe it was. Perhaps it was even like Milky Way who insulted him earlier. Who knows? Cream Unicorn's gonna find a sword. They're gonna also flip off Espresso Cookie and run away. Cream Unicorn is very acting very rude to everybody. You know, it's very unlike them. Chiffon's gonna suffer from an infection, but he survives. You know, Red Velvet probably had some medicine maybe in their sponsor, Dark Enchantress. How evil she is! You know, this production does not support the actions of the Cookies of Darkness or Dark Enchantress Cookie. Let's just make that very clear right now. However, maybe Dark Enchantress Cookie has a sort of heart for Red Velvet, one of their best soldiers. So, you know, maybe Chiffon got some medicine, who knows. Milky Way Cookie is going to use pepper spray on Rye and laugh at her. Very interesting. Now, Rye is a very pragmatic, unpredictable individual. So Rye could either laugh it off with Milky Way Cookie, or Rye's going to find some way to smuggle a gun in and shoot him. Who knows, right? Affogato Cookie's going to climb a tree but fall, but they survive. It's very interesting. Very interesting. You know, Affogato does not have a lot of survival skills, and not a lot of people I see in the chat are actually rooting for Affogato Cookie, but we're still going to hold out hope. You know, perchance it's going to make a huge comeback. Maybe it'll be a showdown at the end between Cream Unicorn and Affogato. They've done so once in Last Cookie Standing. Will one of them become the last cookie standing here? Please stay tuned to find out. We're going to have Shadow Milk Cookie. Now, we haven't heard from Shadow Milk Cookie since the beginning of the game. So that's very interesting. He trips like an idiot. And he survives. You know, for being the cookie of knowledge, he sure didn't see that one coming. You know, what an idiot. Point and laugh at this man. Okay. Eclair Cookie's going to receive some supplies from an unknown sponsor. You know, maybe it's more books. Maybe it's more books. Maybe it's the relic that you just got in your... at the Rainbow Shell Gallery. By the way, we're sponsored by the Rainbow Shell Gallery. If you got shells, we can sell. So can you. And you can get some coins, some relics, even some skill powder, and also some legendary/ancient soul stones. Sometimes even soul prisms. You'll just have to see. Please check them out. Link in the description below. We're going to have Dark Cow fall into the frozen lake, but if he survives, you know, Dark Cow is very accustomed to the frozen tundra. So falling into a lake, he may have done so in his youth. You know, it's very early youth. Shadow Milk Cookie's gonna find a sword. You know, Shadow Milk Cookie makes fun of Secret Cookie. You know, very in character. This is something he would totally do outside of this. You know, haha, you can't let go of that sword or else you're trying to deceive him. And he's like, oh yeah, well don't you live forever? At least I don't get the ennui of living forever, bozo. Golden Cheese Cookie's gonna insult Pure Vanilla Cookie, you know. No, you don't know, it's great enough. Or maybe, you know, maybe she saw, you know, maybe he sent Golden Cheese Cookie, Gordon's granddaughter Isabel, an appalling picture, and she finds it very rude. Who knows? Red Velvet is going to escape once again, only to be met with the electric fence, but he is going to survive. You know, it's very interesting. You know, he keeps trying to escape. He really wants to get back to his dogs, but he's trying to leave. That would also mean leaving Chiffon here. So, you know, maybe he's just trying to find some way so that he can grab Chiffon and get out of here. He's going to snap Golden Cheese Cookie, and Golden Cheese Cookie died! Oh my gosh! Oh, jeez, dude. Red Velvet finding that bow actually is going crazy with it. You know, as a Cookie of Darkness, he's got the skills, and it's very interesting that he's even able to kill an ancient like that. You know, maybe he, unlike the Avengers in Infinity War, he probably aimed for the head, you know. Who knows? We just know that he died. Here, he killed Golden Cheese Cookie. Golden Cheese Cookie, you know, maybe she got very greedy trying to steal supplies, but Red Velvet was like, no, this is for Chiffon. Bam! Stuff like that. Sea Fairy's gonna steal from Chiffon's supplies. Red Velvet, you know what to do. Dark Cow Cookie is going to sneak up on Red Velvet and beat them up. Red Velvet died! Oh my gosh! Dude, Dark Cow got revenge for Golden Cheese Cookie by killing Red Velvet. Oh my gosh! Oh no! Oh, this is going to make me wonder what's going to happen with Chiffon. It's like Dark Enchantress going to do it? Is he going to make Poison Mushroom Cookie try to take care of him again? Who knows? Maybe Chiffon's going to win the whole thing. And don't get your Cookies of Darkness. By the way, we also do not support the actions of the Cookies of Darkness, nor do we support the actions of Dark Enchantress Cookie. Just saying it now. But Sea Fairy is going to destroy Hollyberry supplies, Licorice is going to destroy Rye supplies, and now it's night. 2. Oh my goodness, this is getting intense. Barely anybody was done. One person died, but oh my goodness, it's getting so intense. I feel like I'm watching General Hospital right now, or Grey's Anatomy, or Dr. House when he's like losing his mind. Chiffon is going to steal from Caramel Arrow supplies. Chiffon probably learned that Dark Cacao killed Red Velvet Cookie. Chiffon's probably going to take it out on her instead. Chiffon is then going to sneak in someone's food stash, but was poisoned. But Chiffon survived. Will not meet Red Velvet Cookie again till the afterlife, in which Chiffon is not in right now. Tea Night Cookie is going to create a spear. He's going to shove the spear. Oh, Holly Berry's active! Oh, Holly Berry's going to die from that. Oh my gosh. Geez, these cookies are going after the more powerful ones. They may be saving up. It's like Cookie Run Bravers. You don't really attack right away. You gotta build up your support area, or like Magic build up your land, Lorcana with your ink. Something similar, like right here, Tina gets the spear, then he's gonna get the spear. Bro, call him Vlad the Impaler with how, the spear was shoved up Holly Berry's abdomen. Oh my goodness. Espresso Cookie's gonna destroy Caramel Arrow's surprise. Caramel Arrow's getting bullied a lot. Chiffon stole, and then now Espresso's gonna steal. Shadow Milk's gonna dream about the most pay-to-win update of them all, Stardust. Yeah, pretty much. That's... now, I've heard some things about this. I have definitely no thoughts on it. Eclair Cookie is going to pretend to sleep, but snort some rainbow cubes. They're trying to get that Ski Fairy Cookie costume in the costume shop. They're also gonna dream about the most pay-to-win update of all time, along Shadow Milk Cookie, who also dreams about Frost Queen losing the Hunger Games. Now, it's very funny because Frost Queen is actually dead right now, so, let your dreams come true or something. Right? He's gonna receive some supplies from an unknown sponsor. Maybe it's her bounty. She finally came in. Secret Cookie. He's gonna make fun of Strawberry Crepe. It's revenge. It's revenge. He's also gonna show Arrow of Caramel Arrow's abdomen, but Caramel Arrow survives. These lower rarity cookies are definitely putting their work in against their oppressors, which are the legendaries and the ancients. We're gonna have Tina Cookie sneaking behind PvP. It's not with the spear. Oh, Pure Vanilla dies, dude. That T-Knight's getting a lot of mileage out of that spear. He's killed 2 ancients? Yeah, he's killed 2 ancients with it now. That was probably the best thing that could have happened to T-Knight, that not only he gets that spear, but 2 of the biggest players, the healer and the defender, are dead. Now PP shall see Holly Berry Cookie in Valhalla. Espresso Cookie now gonna twist to risk Rye's neck, but she survives. The cookie, so I have no idea how it would do that. You would just kind of break it off, but I guess it kind of went back in. Maybe she got some frosting to heal it up. We're gonna get Licorice Cookie to shake. Whoa! What the heck? Licorice somehow holds Seaver's head under a lake and she dies. Very ironic considering that she's water itself. Right here we can see that her hair is made of water. Her dress is, probably her body is made of water as well. So it's very interesting that she drowned in a lake as the water herself. But maybe she was able to get the sword out of her. She's too busy trying to pull her head up from the water. So busy, in fact, that she forgets to keep a hold of her sword. So she's gonna die. Very interesting. Shadow Milk's gonna show sword up Milky Way's abdomen. Milky Way's gonna die from that. Oh no, Shadow Milk coming from nowhere. This is only the 4th time that he's been mentioned, and yet he's pulling some moves from nowhere. He may be the unexpected wild card in this game. Moving on, we're gonna get T-Night Cookie to climb a tree but fall. He's getting a little bit older, a little bit more frail. Definitely not something you would want to have, not a quality you would want to have in these sorts of games. But he's a very strong man, and he definitely has survival skills. He's almost like a glass cannon of a sort. Or not really, because he's he's killing people, and he's also surviving these things that would kill other people. So that's going to be very interesting. Strawberry Crepe Cookie's going to dream about the most pay-to-win update. Espresso Cookie is going to steal from Licorice, his reward for killing a legendary, drowning a water legendary is going to be stealing from Espresso. That definitely does put a target on his back for future reference. Strawberry Crepe is going to dream about something that has already happened, Frostwing losing the Hunger Games. Now victory is going to begin. He's going to trip like an idiot, but he will survive, Maybe he'll find Rocky at this point. Strawberry Crepe is going to receive some supplies from an unknown sponsor. Perhaps it's some funding from the Vanilla Kingdom. As we all know, Strawberry Crepe lied about their age so that they can get onto the show, win the million gems, and then get some funding for for their experiments. So getting some supplies from an unknown sponsor could be something. Maybe it's Black Raisin Cookie giving them the sponsorship. Who knows? We're going to have Eclair Cookie lighting a forest on fire for no good reason. No good reason, but probably like a nefarious one. Definitely a nefarious one, considering their tactics so far. Shadow Milk Cookie is going to steal from T-Knight's supplies. Let's pray to God that the spear wasn't stolen, because Shadow Milk could definitely come back with the spear of 1,000 blood on it. There's some blood that was shed on it. Maybe he's trying to lick up the blood from Pure Vanilla if it's still on there for no good reason. We're gonna have Strawberry Crepe holding Cream Unicorn. Oh! Oh, Cream Unicorn's head under her leg. Cream Unicorn's gonna die. No! My money was on them winning. No! I'm gonna have to go to the bank after this and get another load. But Strawberry Crepe, very interesting. A lot of drowning in this day here. Eclair Cookie's gonna strangle Rye, get Rye's blood. A lot of neck-related stuff with Rye Cookie. However, she's a very tough cookie. Pun very well intended. She's been, people try to twist her head. They try to strangle her, as we see here, but she's gonna live. Shadow Milk Cookie's gonna stab Eclair with a sword that he got earlier, maybe perhaps from T-Night Cookie, but Eclair's gonna survive. Try to kill or try to not be killed is what they say. T-Night Cookie's gonna taunt him and then stab him with a spear. That spear has killed ancients, and yet for some reason, Affogato is gonna survive this. Maybe they've tried stabbing people in the back before, but who knows? Perhaps Affogato has dealt with this before. They are a backstabber themselves, so now somebody's trying to backstab them, so they know exactly what that feels like, that sort of empathy, sympathy type of stuff. He's going to receive some supply from an unknown sponsor. Perhaps it's those with the Tea Leaf Order who's going to be helping him out. Chiffon's going to flip off Eclair and run away. No idea how Chiffon would even be able to do that as a cake hound, but we're just going to roll along with it like we've been. Shadow Milk receives some illegal sugar cubes and snorts them. Yeah, I mean, if you look at those eyes, those are not the eyes of a man who's very sober or there. We're gonna have Licorice Cookie grabbing the head of T-Night Cookie and yanking on it, but T-Night Cookie lives. T-Night Cookie is going to live. T-Night Cookie is a very tough cookie. Definitely one of the bigger players in this sort of way. We still haven't heard from the Robust Axe. I do not remember if they died or not. But Caramel Arrow, and they're going to engage in a fight, but they survive. Eclair survives, and it's very implied that Caramel Arrow also survives as well. Affogato back at it again. It's going to destroy Eclair's supplies. Eclair cannot catch a break, really. It's very funny that Caramel Arrow and Affogato, of all people, they're in the same district, but they don't really like each other. They've been working together to kind of make Eclair's job as awful as possible. Strawberry Crepe is going to create a spear. Now, we've seen spears do a lot in the past, so it's very interesting to see how they go about it in this upcoming night and days that go on. Chiffon is going to engage in a fight with Espresso, but Espresso will survive. Chiffon is going to push Licorice off the cliff and also survive. It's very interesting. Maybe he pushed him into the Duskloom Sea. If you probably do that, Black Pearl could easily make some stuff happen that would help you, aka Licorice dying. We're going to have Espresso finding a gun. Well, things are about to get violent. I completely agree, co-commentator. Chiffon's going to receive some supplies from Red Velvet in the afterlife. Rest in peace, you will be missed. Rye is going to get impaled by a tree branch. However, she survives. Rye Cookie and T-Night are definitely some of the bigger players here, more so T-Night. Rye Cookie is very defensive, but T-Night Cookie seems to be the fan favorite in the chat right now. They were able to kill a couple of the ancients. They're still alive, and they survived a bunch of stuff. So it's going to be very interesting how night 3 goes, especially with a big target on his back. Claire Cookie's going to destroy T-Knight supplies. It's very interesting. Very good play, very good. T-Knight was pretty much in the lead. I was very surprised that Claire didn't try to kill, but, maybe they have some plans for T-Knight in the future. We're going to have Chili Pepper Cookie pushing Rye off a cliff, but Rye, like the tough cookie she is, survives even more. It's very interesting how much these two right here are surviving all these, what should be deathly attacks. Chiffon is going to also steal from Claire, eat or be eaten. It's how the motto goes, I believe. Caramel Arrow is going to insult Licorice, of course. Not only is he kind of a loser, but Licorice also did try to go against the kingdom, part of the Cookies of Darkness, and also try to destroy the Dark Cacao Kingdom alongside Pomegranate, Poison Mushroom, and Dark Choco. We're going to have Chili Pepper stealing from Espresso supplies. We're going to have Affogato throwing bombs at Licorice, and he dies! Very interesting, Affogato was working with Licorice Cookie, as we know, to overthrow the Dark Cacao Kingdom. However, it seems that Affogato has now turned the tide. Licorice is getting annoying, admittedly. Caramel Arrow is going to steal from Espresso's supply. Now, Espresso is sort of getting the butt end of the stick here, definitely the shorter of the sticks. So it's very interesting to see how Espresso is getting taken from a lot. Perhaps they're going to have to try to build everything up again. Chili Pepper's going to get a rash. Maybe it was revenge from stealing his supplies. Caramel Arrow is also going to steal from Espresso. Rest again. Chiffon's going to destroy T-Knight supplies. Ooh, let's hope the spear isn't gone. Maybe he'll have to kill John Wick's dog. Who knows? Eclair's going to flip off Rye and run away. Caramel is going to bite out of Chiffon. Cake-Hounds do taste pretty nicely, as I've heard, T-Knight's going to slash Dark Cacao with the spear, but Dark Cacao survives. That spear is doing less damage now. Definitely. He definitely could have killed Dark Cacao. He's killed 2 of the Ancients already. I was kind of hoping he would have killed the third and last one here. Strawberry Crepe is going to try to escape the arena, something very similar to Red Velvet Cookie, but they are met with an electric fence. We all already know about how about how Red Velvet Cookie, right, was trying to do so, and now he's dead. Maybe Strawberry Crepe is also going to try to do so, but is going to unfortunately meet their demise. Chiffon's going to destroy Dark Cacao supplies. Claire's going to cry in their sleep. Yeah, cry about it. Point and laugh. Espresso Cookie's going to make fun of Chiffon. Red Velvet's not there to really kill him or anything. And it sort of has to be a coping mechanism because Espresso is sort of by themselves at this point. Affogato's going to steal from Caramel Arrow. Very candid interaction. They vehemently hate each other. Claire Cookie's going to hold Strawberry Crepes head under a lake and survive. Very interesting how this epic cookie survives this, but like the very high rarity one stone. Strawberry Crepe is actually instead going to destroy Shadow Milk supplies. I don't know why he didn't destroy hers. He literally tried to kill you, but whatever. Maybe Shadow Milk was going to pose a threat in the future. Ooh, a feast! Strawberry Crepe is not going to attend. Very smart coming from them. Very interesting too, because you would think that they would want to attend the feast for some supplies so that they can create some technology out of stuff. Shadow Milk is going to not attend. Caramel Arrow is going to grab some supplies. Affogato is going to throw bombs at Eclair! Explode! Eclair's going to die! Oh, this is intense. Chiffon's going to twist Caramel Arrow's neck, but Caramel Arrow is going to survive. Rye Cookie is going to engage in a fight, but Chiffon survives. Now, does that mean Rye is dead? I guess we'll see. Espresso's going to snipe Caramel Arrow with a gun, but Caramel Arrow knows what it's like to snipe people, so she's going to survive this, Chiffon and Espresso may have to make some sort of unlikely alliance so that they can live, especially under the guise and gaze of Caramel Arrow. T-Knight is going to grab some supplies, Dark Cacao is going to grab some supplies, and now the feast is over. Everybody except for Eclair is going to die, so that's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's only 10 people remaining. We started off at 24 or 11. Let's just see how day 4 goes. Riot Cookie is gonna sneak, but the fool was poisoned. She dies. Wow. So it turns out that Riot Cookie. We're so sorry. We're so sorry for the technical difficulties. We definitely immensely apologize, and we'll do better in the future. We're just so shocked that Riot Cookie, this tough cookie, who's taken a lot of hits, dies in such a very interesting way. Maybe physically they can take it, but inside their body it's very vulnerable. Very weak to poison, so she's gonna die. Caramel Arrow Cookie's gonna sneak into the food stash, but Caramel Arrow has, as a soldier under the Dark Cacao Kingdom, she's definitely had to engage in some poisonous activity, so she probably has an immunity to said poison. Chili Pepper is gonna receive some supplies from an unknown sponsor, perhaps it's Riot Cookie from beyond the grave. Chiffon is gonna find a sword. He's gonna step on a landmine, but he survives. T-Night Cookie and Riot Cookie were the two, very powerful ones. However, T-Night Cookie is definitely the favored one to win. Strategically, on the cuteness factor, it is going to be Chiffon. So let's continue. He's going to escape the arena, but only to be met with electric fence. Now, careful, because the last time people did that, they died. I mean, I know Strawberry Crepe is still alive, but that is beyond the point. T-Night is going to trip Shadow Milk Cookie and laugh with him. He's probably going to do the same thing. Shadow Milk's gonna slap Espresso with the sword. It's the butt end of the sword. As we've seen in the games, Koyamon Cookie has tried to employ a similar technique in the first portion of it against Prune Juice Cookie, only for, Prune Juice Cookie, of course, was faked their death so that he can win. So it's definitely very interesting for Shadow Milk to be taking after these very young cookies in his eyes to do so. Dark Cacao's gonna snort some illegal sugar cubes. Affogato's gonna throw throw bombs at Espresso's face and it explodes. Espresso dies. Ooh, very interesting strategies that Affogato is employing. We're now only in the single digits when it comes to the people. And, Tina is the favorite one to win, and people really want Affogato to lose, as I see in the chat. Caramel Arrow, in response to this, is gonna snort some rainbow cubes. Dark Cacao is going to receive some supply from an unknown sponsor. Perhaps it's the dragons. Pataya Dragon Cookie is probably going to be sponsoring Dark Cacao now. Caramel Arrow is going to insult Shadow Milk Cookie. We got some intel that says that Caramel Arrow thinks that Shadow Milk reminds him of Affogato, which I can definitely see the comparison, is all I'm going to say. Riot Cookie's going to flip off Shadow Milk. Shadow Milk's definitely getting the butt end of the stick. Caramel Arrow's going to sneak up on T-Night and beat them up. However, T-Night, who is part of the T-Leaf Order for many, many, many years, has that thing on him, also known as that T-set. So T-Night is going to survive. Caramel Arrow is now going to find some food, spoil food, and eat it. But she survives. She's very immune. T-Night Cookie maybe physically, but Caramel Arrow is very immune. Definitely has the immunity for certain things. Dark Cacao is going to make a robust axe out of grass, but he doesn't know how to do that. He only knows how to use his sword. T-Night is going to taunt Chili Pepper and stab him with a spear, but Chili Pepper survives. He's turning into a very defensive individual. He's not killing a lot of people anymore, but he's definitely taking a lot of hits. Someone's going to flip off Strawberry Crepe Cookie and run away. Shadow Milk and fishes. Unfortunately, all the fish are Affogato. Reminds him of himself. Night 4. Shadow Milk's going to trip Caramel Arrow and laugh at them. Very Affogato type of behavior. Shadow Milk's going to insult Dark Cacao Cookie. He's really going at it. Not the strongest, hasn't stolen a bunch, and his defense mechanism is just to make fun of other people. Chiffon is going to steal from Affogato. Affogato is going to destroy Strawberry Crepe supplies. Chiffon's going to taunt Caramel Arrow and impel him with a sword. Caramel Arrow survives. She's becoming a lot more like T-Night Cookie. She has the immunity, and she definitely has the ability to withstand these physical attacks, especially from a cake hound such as Chiffon. Now we're going to see Dark Cacao twist Chiffon's neck, and Chiffon also surviving. Chili Pepper Cookie is going to talk about the worst update of all, the Triple Cone Cup, as we've already mentioned. Dark Cacao's going to destroy Caramel Arrow supplies. Definitely a very interesting betrayal, similar to that of Affogato Cookie to Dark Cacao. Strawberry Crepe is going to receive their supplies from an unknown sponsor. Chili Pepper is going to find some bombs. Perhaps you can put some use to them later. Caramel Arrow is going to steal from Shadow Milk supplies, especially after she got tripped by him. T-Knight is going to cry in his sleep. Perhaps the weight of the games is most likely starting to probably get to him. So is Chili Pepper. T-Knight is also going to steal from Dark Cacao. Caramel Arrow is going to sneak up to T-Knight and beat them up. T-Knight survived. T-Knight is surviving a lot of these sort of attacks, and it's very interesting. Definitely favored to win. Definitely a lot of win rate. His win percentage. I'm sorry. The win percentage is definitely up to a staggering 84.3% right now, with Caramel Arrow close behind at 80%. Now, Strawberry Crepe Cookie is going to taunt Chili Pepper and stem with the spear, but Strawberry Crepe is very weak without their normal technology. They're going to have to use their real arms instead of the ones we sort of see. Now, T-Knight is going to steal from Chiffon. Affogato is going to throw bombs at T-Knight's face, and it will explode, but T-Knight survives. It's definitely a very interesting development.
Hello, I'm Dark Cacao Cookie of the Dark Cacao Kingdom. I would like to talk about our sponsor for the event. Rainbow Sugar Cubes. Need your fix? Come on over. We will give you what you need.
And welcome back to Cookie Run Kingdom Hunger Games. Last we left off, Affogato Cookie threw some bombs at T-Knight Cookie's face, and it explodes! However, T-Knight Cookie is going to survive, as we've already seen. Now, for those who don't know or are just tuning in, T-Knight Cookie has been the favored one to win because of the multiple instances of him being attacked and very targeted. However, he has survived all of his attacks, or all of the attacks from most of the other members here, especially from Affogato right here. We're going to continue on. Dark Cacao and Shadow Milk are going to engage in a fight. However, Shadow Milk will live. Very interesting. Beasts are very interesting creatures, very similar to the ancients. Now, Affogato is going to throw bombs at Chili Pepper's face to survive. Chili Pepper wins. Now, I don't know if the bombs are inactive or if Affogato is really bad at aiming. But it's very interesting to see you fail this not once but twice. T-Knight is going to try to escape the arena, but is met with the electric fence as most others are. But he does survive. This wasn't his death. Now Caramel Arrow does nothing for 10 minutes. Absolutely nothing. He's going to climb a tree but fall. Dark Cacao is going to survive. Very interesting. I can't wait to see what happens. T-Knight is now going to receive some supplies from the Tea Leaf Order, most likely. Caramel Arrow is going to push Chiffon off a cliff, but Chiffon, being K-Town, always lands onto 4 legs. So that is going to be... We're so sorry for the technical difficulties. We're just very shocked and we're going to be, it's a very close game between all of these. T-Knight is expected to win by a lot of people, and definitely, Caramel Arrow has been going up in the ranks. Shadow Milk is definitely making more of a presence than he was in the first day. Chiffon is actually going to shove a sword up of Chili Pepper's abdomen, but Chili Pepper will survive. He's also going to slash a sword with Shadow Milk, but, very defensive maneuvers that Chiffon is employing here. Chiffon is the K-Town, for those who don't know, to Red Velvet Cookie, who has unfortunately passed in these games. So we'll probably see if Chiffon avenges his former owners. Shadow Milk is going to impale Caramel Arrow with a sword, but Caramel Arrow has been surviving a lot. It's going to commit arson in the forest, very on brand for her. Affogato is going to find a shovel and try to use it as a weapon. Now, Affogato has definitely had some feats in these past games, so it's very. I do kind of want to see what happens. Try to make a robust axe. You're not really taught that in Dark Cacao Kingdom's soldier program. However, she's going to receive some illegal rainbow sugar cubes and snort them.
T-Night Cookie's gonna trip. Doesn't die, but Shadow Milk does laugh at him. Socially, he's dead. So now Chili Pepper's gonna steal from Strawberry Crepe. Dark Cacao's gonna find someone to use landmines. I'm very surprised that those weren't taken at the beginning of the game, but I digress. Chiffon's gonna find a sword. Shadow Milk's gonna find a gun. And Caramel Arrow's gonna sneak into someone's food stash, but the food was poisoned. Caramel Arrow survived. Like I said, she has this immunity, this sort of immunity to stuff. So I can't wait to see what's gonna happen once things start to get awry down the line. T-Night Cookie's gonna steal from Chili Pepper. Caramel Arrow's gonna snort some more illegal rainbow sugar cubes. And now did Night 5. Chili Pepper is gonna throw some bombs at Caramel Arrow's face, and it explodes. But like T-Night Cookie, she survives this. She's definitely rising up in the ranks to being one of the more durable cookies, and even one of the coming up as a favorite cookie to win. Caramel Arrow Cookie's gonna take out a bite out of T-Night Cookie, but T-Night Cookie is gonna survive. These two are gonna have to duke it out towards the end if these trends continue. Dark Cacao's gonna trip, but he is going to survive. Caramel Arrow's gonna slash. Oh! T-Night Cookie slashes Caramel Arrow with a spear. The spear that has been used to kill 2 ancients at this point. Not 1, but 2. But Caramel Arrow survived. This is going to get messy between these two. They're definitely some of the biggest targets here in these games so far. Now Shadow Milk is going to taunt Dark Cacao Cookie and then shoot her with his gun. But Dark Cacao is going to survive. Now Strawberry Cookie is going to find a shovel, and now they're going to use it like a weapon. Now Shadow Milk is going to destroy T-Night's supplies. T-Night's been very targeted. Now Strawberry Cake's going to fall into a pit, but they're also going to survive. Dark Cacao's going to trip once again, but he survives once again. Dark Cacao is very accident prone, as we've been saying. Chiffon is going to sleep, but snort some more rainbow cubes. Chiffon's going to steal from Affogato. Affogado's going to just destroy from Chiffon. Dark Cacao's going to hide some landmines in Chili Pepper's pants, and it explodes, but Chili Pepper survives. T-Night Cookie's going to slap the Caramel Arrow with the spear and survive. Oh my gosh, they're starting to go at it. Dark Cacao Cookie is going to detonate some landmines through Caramel Arrow, and she also survived. Sorry, Crepe is going to suffer an infection. Everybody is like surviving here. Oh my goodness. Oh. Definitely a very jam-packed day or night, whatever it is at this point. It's so interesting to see what's going to happen now as these games start to sort of go on. Alright, so Strawberry Crepe is going to suffer an infection, as we've said. Strawberry Crepe is going to survive. I see T-Night Cookie and Affogato Cookie, their relationship hasn't necessarily been the best, so we're probably going to wonder what's going to happen. T-Night Cookie's going to taunt and stab him, but Affogato survives. T-Night is becoming more frail, but he is being more defensive, so that's pretty good. Chiffon is going to, step on a landmine! Step on a landmine, it's one knife! No! Once again, Chiffon is going to be reunited with Red Velvet forever in Valhalla. Chili Pepper's going to hide some bombs in Caramel Arrow's pants, and it explodes, but Caramel Arrow survives thanks to is that a Hanfu kimono? I'm not too sure what you call that. Please let us know in the chat. T-Night Cookie is going to taunt Chili Pepper, then stab Chili Pepper with the spear. However, Chili Pepper is going to survive day 6. Boom! Chili Pepper trips like an idiot and she died. Point and laugh at her. Rye would be dying right now. T-Night Cookie is going to step on a landmine. However, T-Night Cookie is a very strong individual, so he's going to survive. He's also going to receive some supplies from an unknown sponsor. They probably feel bad for him. Affogato is going to destroy the supplies that he just received. T-Night Cookie is going to sneak behind Shadow Milk and stab him with the spear, but Shadow Milk survives. Dark Cacao is going to now trip Affogato and laugh at them. Caramel Arrow is going to engage in a fight, and Affogato is going to survive. T-Night Cookie is going to slash Dark Cacao with a spear, but he survives. Shadow Milk finds another shovel and he's going to use it as a weapon. T-Night Cookie is going to catch a fish. Unfortunately, it is Affogato Cookie, whom he just engaged in I guess not. Who he engaged in a fight with. Caramel Arrow is going to look a bit green to an infection. He's going to escape the arena once again, but is met with electric fence again, so he's still going to survive because he's one very tough cookie. He's then going to act. Whoa! My goodness! T-Night keeps accidentally stepping on a landmine. He's gonna die. You know, he can only, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to the people who put money on T-Night Cookie. He survived so far. A lot of people thought he was gonna make it to the end. Oh my goodness. It could be anybody's game. I think now the more favorite to win is going to be Caramel Arrow Cookie. Oh my goodness. Oh. Caramel Arrow's gonna trip like an idiot, but she will survive. She will carry on the T-Knight's honor and win for the Tea Leaf Order. I forgot I was gonna strike Dark Cacao that impaled him with a shovel. Very impressive, but Dark Cacao is still gonna live. Caramel Arrow's gonna twist Afogato's neck as she would have done many years ago when Affogato was trying to rebel. However, Affogato is going to unfortunately survive that. Affogato in response flips off Shadow Milk Cookie, then runs away like a coward. Caramel Arrow's gonna flip off Shadow Milk Cookie as well, and then also run away like a coward. Affogato is gonna fall into a frozen lake! Finally! Jeez, I hated that guy. Strawberry Crepe Cookie is gonna destroy Shadow Milk's supplies. You know, Shadow Milk is now getting the butt end of the stick now. Night 6. Caramel Arrow's gonna disarm an explosive that was hidden in their sleeping bag. You know, perhaps it was Shadow Milk Cookie or even Strawberry Crepe, who may have find some landmines and is now going to detonate them. Shadow Milk Cookie's going to trip like an idiot, but he will survive. Dark Cacao Cookie's going to dream about Frost Queen Cookie losing the Hunger Games, which she's already done. She was the first person to die. Please stop dreaming about that, people. Dream other dreams. Shadow Milk Cookie's going to pretend to sleep, but snort some illegal rainbow sugar cubes. Now he's going to steal from Dark Cacao because he probably was wired on it. Caramel Arrow is going to pepper spray Dark Cacao and laugh. Strawberry Crepe is going to create a spear. Now, I believe there's only 4 people left. We're getting towards the end here. Please put your bets in as it is about to close once it gets to the top 3. Once it gets to the top 3, the votes are going to close. You can't change your votes anymore. And, you know, whoever wins, whoever loses, loses. Caramel Arrow is going to pretend to sleep, but she's going to get wired on some illegal rainbow cubes, perhaps from the bodies of the dead contestants. Now, Dark Cacao is going to trip Strawberry Crepe Cookie and also point and laugh at them. Now, Shadow Milk Cookie is going to trip Dark Cacao and point on him. And Dark Cacao Cookie is going to pretend to sleep, wired on rainbow sugar cubes. It's a real bad epidemic here. They should probably do something about that. Shadow Milk Cookie is going to steal from Caramel Arrow as she is a very big target. She even gets a rash due to her sleeping bag. Shadow Milk is going to find a gun. Well, things are about to get violent. Caramel Arrow is going to make fun of Strawberry Crepe Cookie. Shadow Milk release some illegal is going to have an addiction still. Shadow Milk is going to shoot Strawberry Crepe with a gun, but Strawberry Crepe survives. You know, maybe at this point they got some technology that they can utilize. Dark Cacao is going to get a rash due to a sleeping bag. Caramel Arrow is going to trip like an idiot, but she's very sturdy and stable, so she's going to survive. Shadow Milk is going to sneak into someone's food stash, but it was poisoned. But being the beast of deceit and all, he just said, nuh-uh, so he's going to survive. Day 7 is about to turn into a week. Dark Cacao is going to detonate some landmines near Strawberry Crepe, but they'll survive. More addiction follows. That's when Strawberry Crepe is going to flip off Dark Cacao. I mean, a cookie's hands are literally stuck, so I don't know how they're even doing that in the first place. Caramel Arrow is going to fall into a pit, but she is going to survive. She's also going to snort some rainbow sugar cubes in lieu of it. Dark Cacao Cookie is going to also receive some illegal rainbow sugar cubes and snort them. Unfortunately, Shadow Milk is going to steal from Caramel Arrow. Then Strawberry Crepe is going to stab Dark Cacao with a spear, but Dark Cacao is going to survive. Caramel Arrow is going to destroy Shadow Milk's supplies. Shadow Milk is going to snipe Strawberry Crepe Cookie, and Strawberry Crepe Cookie dies! That's it! Okay, the bets are off! There are only 3 people in the running now. It's Dark Cacao Cookie the Ancient, Shadow Milk the Beast, and Caramel Arrow Cookie, the Epic Cookie, I believe. Whatever! Caramel Arrow Cookie, it seems to be the more favorite to win at an 86.5% chance with Shadow Milk Cookie very close behind. Now, Shadow Milk was barely even a person at the beginning of the game, but it seems like the strategy of hiding has been working well. And, Dark Cacao Cookie and Caramel Arrow have been very defensive. We don't even know what's going to happen. Anything can happen at this point. Shadow Milk's going to flip off Dark Cacao and he runs away. Caramel Arrow's gonna fish. Unfortunately, all the fish are Affogato. She freaking hates Affogato. Caramel Arrow's gonna trip Dark Cacao and laugh at him. Dark Cacao's gonna get impaled by a tree branch, but he's gonna survive. Dark Cacao's gonna throw some landmines and it explodes. Caramel Arrow's gonna survive. Dark Cacao thinks he's gonna receive some supplies from an unknown sponsor. He's also gonna commit arson in the forest for no particular reason. Oh, it's getting spicy here. Shadowmonk's gonna get caught in the bear trap, but Shadowmonk lives. He's also gonna find some spoiled food and eat it, but it lives. Oh my goodness, she's gonna sneak into someone's food stash, but it was poison. She survives. Oh my goodness, Shadowmonk's gonna snipe. Dark Cacao's gonna survive. Dark Cacao's gonna also fall into a frozen lake. He's feeling very, very unfortunate. Wow. Jeez, Caramel Arrow is gonna steal from Dark Cacao. She's also gonna dream about the worst update of them all, the Triple Cone Cup. That is very debatable. He's also gonna get. Oh! Dark Cacao's gonna get caught in bear trap. Dark Cacao's gonna die. It's only Shadowmonk and it's only Shadowmonk and Caramel Arrow Cookie. A lot of people are rooting for Caramel Arrow Cookie, but the Pure Vanilla Sims are also here rooting for Shadowmonk. We don't know what's gonna happen. Final showdown begins. Caramel Arrow's gonna get into a fight. Shadowmonk survives. Shadowmonk is also gonna snipe with the gun. Caramel Arrow survives. Anything can happen. Shadowmonk gonna shoot him again. Gonna shoot her again, but she's gonna survive. Shadowmonk is gonna shoot him again. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. She's taking these bullets like it's John Wick. Caramel Arrow's gonna grab his hanging yank on her, but Shadowmonk survive. She's also gonna flip off Shadowmonk and then run away. Oh my goodness, Shadowmonk's gonna shoot with a gun. Caramel Arrow survive. Oh my god. Caramel Arrow is taking these bullets like it's a blink of the wrist. She's gonna think it's a bullet wound for them. 4 big booms right to the chest, and she's gonna take that. She's gonna use it's like mosquitoes biting her. It's like a fly landing on her. Shadowmonk Cookie's gonna taunt and then shoot him with the gun again. Caramel Arrow lives. Caramel Arrow bulletproof. She's bulletproof. Caramel Arrow Cookie's gonna grab the hanging egg on it. Shadowmonk's gonna survive. Shadowmonk's gonna shoot with the gun. Shadowmonk's Cookie's gonna win the Hunger Games. He's the last cookie standing. Oh my gosh. From being not even mentioned, barely mentioned at the beginning, to officially winning, the Pure Vanilla Sims have won. With that, we're gonna thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. See you later, baby.